Hello guys, welcome to my first pack opening. We have our pre-release Phyrexia All Will Be One set boosters here. And we have our promo cards on top. Interesting interaction at the card store today. We got this guy. You're not supposed to get this promo card with this box, but the store owner actually showed it to me and felt so bad that he showed it to me that he just gave it to me anyway. But this is the one we're supposed to get right here. The Green Sun's Twilight. Reveal the top X+1 cards of your library, choose a creature card and or land card from among them, put those cards into your hand and the rest on the bottom. But if you pay 5 or more, you can just put it onto the battlefield instead. So this card's very good and is going to go into my unicorn deck. Those won't be counted towards the card war here, but let's open this up. So I'm hoping to pull our Elish Norn out of this one, and that other, the white Praetor that doubles the tokens that you make. Trying to build a good standard deck for a couple tournaments I have coming up. It's a nice looking little backing there. Alright. Let me mix these guys up. Hopefully we can get a couple of the Praetors out of this and maybe some of those toxic cards. Give these guys a nice little mix here. Nice little shuffle as if it was a deck. Alright. So there is 32, I believe, in this package. If it's not lying to me on the outside of it here. Contains 30. So, would you like the top or the bottom 15?
The bottom.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Make sure that's 15. I'll open mine first. Okay, we'll do it at the same time. There's a little pull tab on the side of it here. Top. The rare is in the front, I believe, from what I saw. Or maybe that's just draft boosters, but we'll see. Oh, interesting. Oh, look at this. These are all the these are the secret layers from the Street Fighters. This one is Dulcine, Pliable Pacifist here. And I got a borderless foil Geth, Thane of Contracts. Other creatures you control get -1/-1, and I can return target creature from the graveyard to the battlefield. If it leaves the battlefield, exile it. Yep, I really wanted this one too. Use this in my graveyard deck. And I got another rare. That's interesting. A pack with 3 rares. Whenever it attacks, it gets +X, where X is the number of equipped creatures you control, and then you also draw a card if his power is 4 or greater. That's pretty good. Put that in the rare pile there. Toxic 2. Whenever a creature you control a toxic deals damage to a player, that player gets an additional poison counter. That is pretty good for toxic. And then it can give toxic creatures death touch. Ooh, the Foundling. So this would be very good for my Krenko deck. Trample gets +1/+1 for each oil counter on it, and when it enters the battlefield or another creature you control is put in the graveyard, put an oil counter on it. So it just gets bigger the more goblins you sacrifice. Charforger. This is an interesting one. I saw some cool builds with this guy. When it enters the battlefield, create a goblin. Whenever another creature or artifact you control is put in the graveyard from the battlefield, put an oil counter on it, and remove 3 oil counters from it, and you may play this card this turn. Hasting 3-drop. Oh, the Font of Progress. This is a cool one. So, it comes with 2 oil counters. Target player mills X cards, and when X is the number of oil counters on this. So you can just kind of put a ton of counters on this and mill people out with it. I want to keep that one to the side a bit. 2-drop instant to exile target creature if it has mana value 3 or less. And you can exile a creature if they have 3 or more poison counters no matter what. That's cool. Fleshless Gladiator. Comes back from the graveyard. Ooh, a Phyrexian dinosaur with Toxic 3 and Haste. That is interesting. The Sinew Dancer, 1-drop soldier. Pretty good for the meta. And you can pay 1 to tap target creature. And look at that mountain. Ooh. That is good. Keep that one to the side.
Are you really gonna go through every single card?
I'll look through a couple of places.
I would more. Let's switch it on.
Look at this. What a nice swamp we see from Lilly's packs. The Phyrexian Might. I'll keep this on the side. I'll probably use it. Oh, this is the Gruul Rare Beast. This is good for Commander. Enters the battlefield with 5 oil counters. Remove an oil counter. It gains Vigilance and remove 2. Gets +2/+2.
So is this set oil? I don't understand.
It's proliferate. A lot of proliferators in the set.
So they're just made of oil counters?
Yep, it's a new counter. This Thrumming Bird is beautiful. This is such a good card. I'm glad they reprinted this. More oil counters. When it dies, draw a count equal to the number of oil counters on it. Another ETB Destruction for oil counters. Apostle of Invasion is good. As long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, this gets double strike. Ossification is very good. This is going to be, I think, one of the premier removal cards in white now, in standard. Another 3-drop that taps for mana. Exile target non-land permanent. Okay. Not a bad removal spell. Bring the Ending. Jace with the Silex. Very cool. Counter target spell. And there's no drawbacks if there's poison counters on that opponent. Another Proliferate spell that taps creatures. Not bad. And is this a foil? Nice. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you put an oil counter on it. As long as it has 4 or more oil counters, it gets +2/+0. Not bad. That's pretty. Going in for the second pack here. I don't know how I like this peel tab on the side. It kind of scares me when I'm opening my pack here. Oh, I got another one. So this is the big burly dude from the Street Fighter Secret Lair. Canker Bloom. Sacrifice a destroy target artifact or enchant. Is that foil? Oh, look! Geth comes back. It's a weird little Phyrexian elf druid. You get to untap a land.
That's your phone. Oh, look at that.
Gain control of target creature spell. That's cool. Untap it. If it's equipped, you may destroy all equipment. Interesting. Tamio's Immobilizer. Comes with 4 oil counters. Remove an oil counter and tap target creature. Not bad. Oh, and Tamio's Logbook. Can pay 6 to draw a card and cost 1 less for each other artifact. That is not bad. This is just the Tamio pack, I guess. Counter target spell and proliferate if that spell is 3 or less. Alright, probably not that usable. Whenever another artifact enters the battlefield, it gets +1/+1. Yeah, okay. It's not... This counts tokens, so if you have treasures, that's pretty good. Vigilance gets +2/+0 as long as you control 2 or more artifacts. Basilica Shepherd, Phyrexian Angel. When it enters the battlefield, create 2/1 colorless mites with Toxic. Not bad. Ooh, this would be good for mono red. Target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Put 2 oil counters on it. And a very pretty island. We've gotten a full art land in each pack so far, so. Oh, wow. This is a pretty island. I mean, plains. I know my magic colors. This is beautiful. Oh, the Mythic. Source would deal non-combat damage to opponent and permanent, and opponent controls it deals double. That is pretty good. And it has discard 2 cards and put an indestructible counter on it. Not bad at all, especially for a red deck. Well, another rare. This pack is loaded. You got Koth here. Very pretty Koth. It gives you land searching with mono red. Search a library for a basic mountain. That's pretty good for a 4-draw. Deals damage to target creature equal number of mountains you control. Okay. And you get an emblem whenever a mountain enters. That emblem deals 4 damage to any target. Well, that is pretty good. These arts are great. I love this Phyrexian art here. This like crazy little creature, like eating a pipe or whatever he's doing. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you can put an oil counter on it. Already really good. With haste, 1 drop. Good for mono red. Remove an oil counter. It deals 1 damage to each opponent. I mean, for standard, it's not that great, but for commander, I feel like if you can untap this a lot, it'd be pretty good. You can just give creatures Toxic 2. And it returns to the battlefield if it dies. Well, that's pretty good. We've already seen Canker Bloom. Voidwing Hybrid. I've wanted this card. Flying, Toxic 1. Whenever you proliferate, return it from the graveyard to your hand. This, I think, will be pretty good in Standard. I could be wrong, but flying and Toxic, and you get to bring it back when you proliferate. Toxic 1 with First Strike. Ooh, this is a cool new Thrill of Possibility art. Ooh, this is a good one. Prologue to Phyrexia. Each opponent gets a poison counter, and you get to draw a card. Just as a common. Broken. Power creep. I want to make sure I have these piles separated. When this enters the battlefield, put up to 1 target, insert a source from a graveyard on top of your library. Pretty good. You can probably exploit that in a blink deck. Ooh, equipment spells cost 1 less. Interesting. Activated abilities of equipment you control that target blade graph cost 1 less to activate. That is interesting. I do have an equipment deck. I might use that. What's this? Just another game mode card? Alright. Let's see. Yeah, like look at that. It kind of scares me a bit. Might dent the edge of my cards there. I don't know if I like that. This pack seems like it was backwards. Interesting. No, this way. Yeah, it put this in front this time. That was weird.
No, that's supposed to be that's when you don't
My
have
first?
a token.
Oh, if there's no token, I get this at the front?
Yeah.
Weird. Well, I don't want that. I don't need any more magic mini games. Oh, we've seen this guy before. Ooh, Thrun. Can't be countered and such. Let me see. Trample. Can't be the target of non-green spells your opponents control or abilities. And if it's your turn, he has indestructible. It'd be good in a board wipe deck. Oh, yeah. I was thinking about making a... let me get this in front here. I was thinking about making a blue, black, white planeswalker deck, actually. So no more than one creature can attack this planeswalker. Pretty good. Exile up to one artifact or creature, return that to the battlefield under control, so it's a blank. And you can just make a samurai creature with double strike to protect the Eternal Wanderer. Plus, it can only be attacked by one creature. And for each player, choose a creature, and it's a board wipe. So this is a really good planeswalker. I want to make a planeswalker deck with this. And again, we see Sinew Dancer in the pack. This was the first card of this pack. This card is also really good. Put a creature from your graveyard on the battlefield and proliferate. Vat of Rebirth. Another artifact or creature control is put in the graveyard from the battlefield. Put an oil counter on it. Remove four oil counters. Return target creature in the graveyard to the battlefield. Another good card. I mean, especially the sacrifice deck or whenever another artifact or creature. Yeah, so it's not even non-token, so you can use it with treasures. That's pretty crazy. Ooh, another similar. These arts are very close together. Look at that. Just like the gross little egg sacs. Remove an oil counter from it and make a token. And it starts with 3. And there's no way to put more on it unless you're proliferating, it seems. I feel like I wanted this one too. Whenever another creature artifact is put... Yep, it's non-token again, so treasures. Remove 2 oil counters from it. Target creature can't block. Yep, pretty good. Adaptive Spore Singer. So you can blink this to proliferate. I'm seeing the other ability isn't very useful. Rustvine. We saw this one again. Dune Monster. Ooh, colorless Toxic. That's pretty good. When it enters the battlefield, you may search a library for a basic land card and put it on top. Not bad. Ooh, that's a pretty looking plains. It's like... I think I like that land the most out of all the ones I've seen so far. Starting off with a nice island. This one is Ryu, I believe, in the Street Fighter Secret Lair. It's weird because he has the untap symbol here. It's not just a tap symbol. Tablet of Completion. Put an oil counter on it. Add a mana. Activate only if Tablet of Completion has 2 or more oil counters on it. Pay 1, draw a card. Activate only if it has 5 or more oil counters. This isn't bad. If you have a proliferate deck in Standard, I feel like this would be pretty good. You get to draw a card, so not bad. Rustvine Collector again. Ichor Plate Golem. So this is, if you're running some sort of oil counter deck, all your creatures getting 1/1 for all the oil counters. Pretty good. Atraxa's Skitterfang. Enters the battlefield with 3 oil counters. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may remove an oil counter. When you do, target creature you control gains Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, or Lifelink. Lifelink is important. That is not bad. Ooh, this I've wanted this card. I think this card is going to be really good in Standard if it actually works the way it should. It's just equal to the number of artifacts, and you play 4 of these and a lot of treasures or whatever artifacts you can get your hands on. This will be very good, I think. Another one of those Expel. Oh, also, it gives it hexproof and indestructible, so you don't even have to pay for X. It's just a 1-drop. This is pretty good. I would add this to my Celestia deck, actually, because I have Tameo Safekeeping, which is just this card, except it doesn't have the X cost or the plus X plus X. It's the same cost otherwise. Lattice Blade, Phyrexian Insect. 2 oils. You may, when it attacks, you may remove an oil counter. If you do, it gets +1/+1. Yeah. Could be better. Ooh, a vehicle. I do have a vehicle deck. Enters the battlefield with an oil counter. Remove an oil counter, it becomes an artifact creature. Oh, that is pretty good. It is a high cost, though. Phyrexian Spider. Sacrifice it, proliferate. Not bad. Death Touch Toxic 1 3-drop. Oh, and a foil. Oh, Vanish into Eternity. Not a bad card either.
I think they all have full art.
Maybe the set boosters have at least one of the Phyrexian art things.
Yeah.
Interesting. Is this just backwards?
Huh?
Oh no, it's my token. Phyrexian Horror? I don't know what this is, what this goes to. Kinzu of the Bleak Coven, a Phyrexian vampire. Foil. Flying. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may pay 2 life and exile it. If you do, create a token, except it's 1/1 and has Toxic 1. That is not bad for a sacrifice deck. The Seed Core, a land, a sphere. Add 1. Add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast Phyrexians. That's weird. Tap. Target one creature gets +2/+1 until end of turn. Activate only if the opponent has 3 or more poison counters. Not bad. Definitely a little toolboxy. Canker Bloom, we've seen this. Ah! A Phyrexian bird. That is ugly. It has little heads coming out of it there. Flying, Toxic 1. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 2. If you do, proliferate. Not bad for a Simic card. I'm trying to think of what decks I'll put that in, because I have a couple of Simic decks that could use proliferate. Whenever you proliferate, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Pretty good. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Proliferate. Also pretty good. Merkinsmith. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a Mer card. Okay. Mer Custodian. When it enters the battlefield, scry 2. Then each opponent may scry 1. It tells you how to scry on this card. That is interesting. I don't think I've seen that before. The good old Terramorphic Expanse. Volt Charge. 3 damage to target and proliferate. Ichor Synthesizer. We've seen him before. Oh, look at that land. That is a nice looking land. Alright. We got ourselves a Phyrexian Goblin. That's good looking. Oh, another nice looking mountain. That is, I like this art a lot for the mountains. Is that a foil Thrumming Bird I see? Wow. That is nice. I like this art of Thrumming Bird a lot. Oh! The red Phyrexian Dragon. 3 less to cast if you have 9 or more cards in your graveyard, and when it enters the battlefield, exile 3 cards at random from your graveyard. Choose a non-creature, non-land from among them, and copy it. See, most of the graveyard decks I have are creature-based, but I mean, there's probably spells within there that I could use. Like maybe a spell that brings stuff back and without paying its mana cost is pretty good. So I think I'm going to add this to that graveyard deck. Evolved Spinoderm. Enters the battlefield with 4 oil counters. Evolved Spinoderm has trample as long as it has 2 or few oil counters on it. Otherwise, it has hexproof. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove an oil counter from it. Then if it has no oil counters on it, sacrifice it. This is a weird card. Huh. Okay. Bone Picker Scourge. As long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, as Death Touch, Lifelink, and also has Flying for 3. Ooh, this is an ugly card. It's like a walking casket. When it enters the battlefield, I can pay 2 life. When you do, target creature gets -1. Veil of Assimilation. Whenever Veil of Assimilation or another artifact enters the battlefield under your control. Target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains Vigilance. It's pretty good. I mean, you can pump some creatures up and give them Vigilance. Plated Onslaught. Affinity for artifacts. Creatures you control get +1/+1. Or +2/+1. Not bad. I mean, could cost 2 for that. Yeah, not bad at all. Good for a might deck. If you're building one of those, like, what's that guy called? The 1-drop mites in this set. Pretty good for draft, I would say. I don't know how usable it is in standard. Exile target artifact or creature you control, so blank, and return artifact or creature card with mana 3 from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's not bad. 1 or both, so. Gitaxian Raptor. Enters the battlefield with 3 oil counters on it. Remove an oil counter from it. It gets +1/-1. Gitaxian Anatomist. When it enters the battlefield, you may tap it. If you do, proliferate. So it's kind of like a blink type of thing. Draw 3 cards in proliferate for 5. Not bad. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to be using that pull tab. I don't like how that pull tab works. Interesting. Sometimes it shows up backwards. But we got Tainted Overseer foil. Kethic Crucible Goliath. At the beginning of your end step, if you sacrifice another creature, if you do, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-legendary creature with a lesser mana value and put it on the battlefield. That is not bad. I mean, you're still going to really have to play a creature to get a creature off of this. Because if you sacrifice a token, you're going to have to look for another 0-drop creature. But there's definitely toolbox there. Sinew Dancer again. Veil of Assimilation again. Plated Onslaught again. It's like the last pack. Equipped creature is +2/+0. Infested Flesh Cutter. Whenever a equipped creature attacks, you create one of those 1/1 colorless Phyrexian mites with Toxic 1. So this is pretty good. I kind of want to make some sort of might deck for standard, and I might use that card. Menace. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, it deals 2 damage to that player unless they have 2 or more basic lands. Interesting. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them in your hand, the rest on the bottom. This is pretty good. I might use this in my mono blue deck. You get to proliferate, which is kind of useless for me, but maybe I'll add some Toxic. Fleshless Gladiator was the first pack. Oh, and Tyrannix Atrocity, I think, was in the first pack, too. Sinew Dancer was in there as well. And this is a really nice looking swamp. Look at that. It has all, like, the poison and stuff at the top dripping onto the skull. That's very cool. We got that Phyrexian Mite again. Ooh, the Foil Forest. That is a nice look. It has a little thing in the corner, and it's all gross vines coming up. I like that. Draw Spellbomb. I think this might be a reprint, but I'm not sure. Maybe they made new spell bombs, but I think this is a reprint. Mirren Safehouse. Ooh, this is a pretty good card. When it enters the battlefield, it has all the activated abilities of all land cards. Well, not even on ETB. It's just if there's a land card in your graveyard, this has those abilities. So if you have a lot of lands with abilities, and maybe you're sacrificing them, like Evolving Wilds, this is pretty good for that. Is this This might be a Commander deck exclusive that's in the set boosters, actually.
The symbols.
Yeah, that's interesting. So create a token that's a copy of target artifact creature you control, or create a token that's a copy of target non-artifact creature you control. This I will be using in my Sakashima Yoshimaru deck, I think, because I can make a copy of Sakashima Yoshimaru, and the legendary rule doesn't apply to those guys. So if I also have a couple of my artifacts that copy them as well, I can copy them twice. So that'll be cool. I think I'm going to use that in there. Furnace Punisher. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, it deals 2 damage to them. We've seen this guy. Tuss's Retrofitter, I think? There's a lot of crazy names in the Phyrexian world. Toxic 1, when it enters the battlefield, up to one target artifact you control becomes an artifact creature with base power and toughness 4/4. Pretty good for a vehicle deck. Ribskiff, another... Is this a vehicle with Toxic? And when it enters the battlefield, you draw a card. I'm going to be using that one. Big, ugly skeleton boat. Necrosquito. When it enters the battlefield with 2 poison counters on it, it gets +1/+1 for each poison counter, so good for proliferate. But actually, it's a 0/0, so you better watch out. Whenever another creature or artifact you control is put into the graveyard, you put... Okay, so yeah, if you have treasures and stuff, you can just pump this guy up. Glistener Seer, when it enters the battlefield with 3 oil counters on it, remove an oil counter from it and scry 1. Ooh, this gross pig. It's a boar beast, Phyrexian. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library and may reveal a land from among them and put it in your hand. Put the rest on the bottom. If you didn't put a card in your hand, proliferate. For a 3-drop, that's not bad. Ooh, another gross mosquito. Flying Toxic 1 for 2. Not bad. The Toxic 1 flyings, I think, are going to be useful in the standard. Toxic 1, whenever it dies, proliferate. Definitely better in draft than standard, though, I think. And there's another rat, actually, so the rats are coming back. Definitely want to try and get that Myrrh commander out of this if I can. Away.
Is it Toner's birthday today?
It might be.
Because the birthday symbol next to
It probably is.
No one said happy birthday to him.
Phyrexian Beast. Bone Picker Scourge. As long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, it has lifelink. Ooh, Black Sun's Twilight. Up to 1 target creature gets -X/-X. If X is 5 or more, return a creature card mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Yep, I would like this in my graveyard deck. Bladed Ambassador. Enters the battlefield with an oil counter. Remove an oil counter, it gets indestructible. Not bad for a soldier. Quicksilver Fisher. Phyrexian Drake. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card and discard a card. It's okay for a 5-drop. Enters the battlefield, deals X damage to any target where X is the number of permanents you control oil counters. Not bad. Churning Reservoir. Put an oil counter on target non-token artifact or creature. Tap 2. Create the Goblin. Oh, so this is where the Goblin comes from. Only if an oil counter is removed from a permanent you control. Yeah, I mean, maybe good for standard, but I don't really know how many oil counters I'll have in my Goblin deck. Ogre Rebel. Menace Reach. Alright, simple enough. Shieldred's Headcleaver. Menace Toxic 2. Ooh, Menace Toxic is pretty good too. This is a nasty duress art. Ugh. It's like this guy is leaking green. Whisper of the Dross. Ooh, 1-drop proliferate. Not bad. Ooh, this is that pet looking thing from Arena. Flying Toxic 1. When it enters the battlefield, another creature you control with Toxic gets +1/+1 and flying. Not bad. And a nice foil swamp. Look at that. That is a pretty foil island. Ooh, Mechanized Production. I love this card. Oh, this card's awesome. So at the beginning of your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of Enchanted Artifact. I mean, the best... Let me get the little dust off the end of that. The best way I've seen this used was on a Soul Ring, actually. And then you just have so much mana. But I mean, late game, you can put this on anything, like anything non-legendary at least. And you win the game if you have 8 or more artifacts with the same name. So, I mean, I guess you could put it on a treasure. Create a token that's a copy of enchanted artifact. Yeah, it doesn't say non-token artifact. So, I mean, you put it on a treasure, you could just win, honestly. So, Mind Splice Apparatus. Was hoping to pull this one. At the beginning of your upkeep, put an oil counter on it. Instant sorceries you cast cost 1 less for each oil counter. Very good. Reject Imperfection we've seen. Blight Belly Rat. Ew. Toxic 1. When it dies, proliferate. That is a disgusting art. It has all those warts and stuff. Nasty. Trawler Drake. Enters the battlefield with an oil counter. Gets +1/+1 for each oil counter. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter. This is pretty good. I might add this to my cube. It's a non-creature spell cube, essentially, with all the creatures that get bigger off of it. I might add that. A Chimera. Phyrexian Chimera. That is cool. Serum Core Chimera. If you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on it. Remove 3 oil counters, draw a card, and discard a non-land card. When you discard a card this way, it deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Not that great. Drown and Ichor. Target creature gets -4/-4, proliferate. Not bad for proliferation. Phyrexian Soldier, Porcelain Zealot. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, target creature you control gets +1/+1. If that creature has Toxic, it gets +2/+2. Vraska's Fall. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker and gets a poison counter. Another good card to give everyone a poison counter to proliferate. Sawblade Scamp. Haste. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on it. Remove an oil counter from it. It deals 1 damage to each opponent. Oh, have we seen this one? I'm not sure. It seems similar to another one that we've seen before. Target creature gets +1/+2. It fights target creature you don't control. This is target creature you control as well. Interesting. Ruthless Predation. Predation Steward. Enters the battlefield with 2 oil counters. Remove an oil counter from it. Target creature gets +2/+2. Nice. We're getting about halfway done. What time are we supposed to go?
6.
Okay.
We'll be there.
That's fine. We'll make it. Oh, wrong side again. Samurai. Oh, I'll need this for my Planeswalker. I'll put that in there. We have Adaptive Spore Singer. We've seen this guy. Here he is. Caramonix the Rat King. This is the new Rat Commander that they printed. His art is absolutely foul. Toxic 1. Other rats you control have Toxic 1, which is why it's real good. Enters the battlefield. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal any number of rats and put those into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom. Huh?
Is it mono black?
Mono black.
John should make that.
I know. I think it'd be at least great for his deck, if not make it. Rustvine Cultivator we've seen. Quicksilver Fisher again, we've seen him. Bladed Ambassador. Enters the battlefield with an oil counter on it. Remove an oil counter from Bladed Ambassador. Bladed Ambassador gains indestructible. Oh, we've seen this, but just in his other art. Oh, here's the Annex Sentry. Toxic 1. Enters the battlefield. Exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls mana value 3 or less. It's pretty good because it not only is able to hit creatures, but now it hits artifacts as well. It's like Brutal Cathar, except with a bit of a drawback. So this could be used. I could see it used. This spell costs 2 less to cast if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters. Draw 2 cards. This is a real good card for a proliferate deck, definitely. Enters the battlefield with 2 oil counters. Remove an oil counter, discard a card, draw a card. Not bad. Oil Gorger Troll enters the battlefield. You gain 3 life. Then if you control a permanent with an oil counter, draw a card. Yeah, I could add this to MEL for my Blink, but I doubt that I'll have any oil counters really in it. Prophetic Prism, reprint. Plague Nurse, Toxic 2. Each other creature controlled Toxic gains Toxic 1 until end of turn. Oh, so the Toxic stacks. I see. So you can give all your creatures like Toxic 300 if you have infinite mana. This is cool. This is cool. But yet your creature has to have Toxic originally, I guess. So. And another one of those nice forests. The Phyrexian forests are nice. The Rebel. I think this is in the commander deck. Nice forest. Chittering Skitterling. It's a nice little name there. It's one of those rats. Sacrifice an artifact or creature, draw a card. Activate only if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters and only once each turn. Not bad. Copperline Gorge. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or fewer lands. This is a good one. I like these lands a lot. Oh, and we got that dragon again, except this time it is the cool art for it.
Showcase.
That is nice. What's it? Borderless is Showcase. Showcase. I like this one. Urbask's Anointer. Enters the battlefield, deals X damage to any target where X... Okay, we've seen this one. Toxic 2, Nimraiser Paladin. When it enters the battlefield, return target creature with mana value 3 or less from a graveyard to your hand. Oop, Chittering Skitterling again. Slaughter Singer, another good standard card. Toxic 2. Whenever another creature you control toxic attacks, it goes +1/+1. So if you have 4 of these out, your creatures are getting +4/+4. Annihilating Glare. As an additional cost to cast a spell, pay 4 or sacrifice an artifact or creature. Not bad. It's like the one from the werewolf set. Complete Devotion. Target creature you control gets +2/+2. If that creature has toxic, draw a card. Pretty good card draw on mono white because you have all those Phyrexian mites. Choose one or both. It deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Destroy target equipment. For 5, bit too much. The Hunter Maze. Oh, this is the green sphere. Enters the battlefield tapped. You can pay 2 to draw a card. Not bad. Pretty good pack with that dragon. Oh, I got a card from the list. I was wondering why this was at front. Has Fear, 4-drop. Whenever it deals damage to a player, that player discards a card. Not bad. Plated Onslaught again. Mercurial Spelldancer. Can't be blocked. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on it. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may remove 2 oil counters from it. If you do, when you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy it. Okay. That is pretty good. Bone Picker Scourge. Swooping Lookout. Flying Vigilance 1/2. Interesting. Disgusting art, though. It's a 1-drop. Gleeful Demolition. I'm probably going to use this. Destroy target artifact. If you control that artifact, create 3 goblins. Okay. Cacophony Scamp. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it and proliferate. Whenever it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. Not bad. Serum Snare. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If that permanent had mana value 3 or less, proliferate. Experimental Augury. Another card that I want to add to my blue deck. Stinging Hive Master. Toxic 1. When it dies, create a 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Mite with Toxic 1. Incisor Glider. Flying. Whenever it attacks, if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Bone Picker Scourge again. And that Plains that I like. Ooh, I actually got the art for the green Phyrexia in here. I want to see that one in the real card if I can. Got our Phyrexian Mite. We got our Swamp to start it off. Churning Reservoir Foil. Ooh, and now we got the Rakdos land here. That enters tapped unless you control 2 or fewer lands. I think they call this a fast land. They call this one a fast land, and they call the ones that came out in the set before the slow land because it takes longer for it to come out. So we see Sinu Dancer again. Mer Convert. I don't think we've seen this one. Has Toxic, and you can pay 2 life to add 1 mana of any color. That's pretty cool. Bone Picker Skirt. These have all been crazy arts right there. 3 in a row. Bilious Skull Dweller. A Phyrexian insect with Death Touch Toxic 1. Pretty good. Noxious Assault. Creatures you control get +2/+2 until the turn. Whenever a creature blocks this turn, it gets a poison... whenever a creature blocks this turn, its controller gets a poison counter. Wow. That's pretty good. So whenever you assign a creature to block, you can only assign maximum of 9 or you just instantly lose. That's cool. Toxic 6. Okay. Can't be blocked by creatures of power 2 or less, but it is a 7-drop. Planar Disruption. Enchant artifact creature or planeswalker. Enchanted permanent can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. Yeah, that's okay. Hazardous Blast deals 1 damage to each creature your opponents control. Creatures your opponents control can't block. Burnish Strider. Enters the battlefield 2 oil counters. Remove an oil counter from it. Target creature you control gains haste. Quick water break. Okay. Oh, look at what art we saw. The one that kills you if you block with more than 9 creatures. Ooh, Mirrodin Besieged, another very good list card. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, you create an artifact Myr. You're going to want that for your Myr deck. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card, then discard a card. Then if there are 15 or more artifacts in your graveyard, target opponent loses the game. Pretty good. Tyvar Stand Foil. Bloated Contaminator. Trample Toxic 1. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, proliferate. I think this one is going to be good for Standard. Necrogen Rot Priest again. Bladehold War Whip. For Mirrodin. When this equipment enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 red rebel creature. Oh, we got that token. Equipped abilities you control of equipment cost 1 less to activate. Yep, I'm going to put this in my equipment deck because it is Boros. And you don't see a lot of equipments that give double strike. Or that actually come with a creature as well. The equip cost doesn't matter because the deck I have actually negates that equip cost. But this is pretty good. Rebel Salvo. Affinity for equipment. It deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. And it loses indestructible. Resistance Reunited. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Equipped creature you control gains indestructible. Not bad. Eye of Malcator. When Eye of Malcator enters the battlefield, scry 2. Whenever another artifact enters the battlefield, Eye of Malcator becomes a 4/4 Phyrexian Eye artifact creature? Weird. Phyrexian Drone for 2. Flying Vigilance. Whenever it dies, draw a card. Chrome Prowler, a cat, except it's blue, so I can't put it in my cat deck. Flash, when it enters the battlefield, tap target creature an opponent controls. That'd be pretty good for a blink deck. And Blade Graft Aspirant. Aspirant's Ascent. What does this card do? Target creature gets +1/+3 and gains Flying and Toxic 1. Well, I mean, it's pretty good. We got another nice mountain there. Alright, so we start off with a Rebel here. Swamp. Vat of Rebirth again, one of those disgusting eggs. Ooh, Nahiri. Completed Nahiri. Until your next turn, up to 1 target creature attacks a player, so you goad some... Well, actually, attacks a player. Yeah, so it's... Oh, crap. This is like goad, except... Oh, you can't really see. Like, I don't like how the backdrop of this is like her legs and stuff, because you can barely see the words on it. It's like goad, except it can't attack you, which is kind of interesting. Discard a card and draw a card, and you can 0 it to exile target creature. With mana value less than Nahiri's loyalty from your graveyard, create a token of it. So, bringing stuff back from the graveyard for, as it comes down, less than 5. So, pretty good. Rustvine Cultivator. Venomous Brutalizer. Toxic 3. When it enters the battlefield, you can pay 2 and proliferate. Not bad. Oof. A 4-drop with a lot of text on it. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. Put up to 2 land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. If you put fewer than 2 land cards on the battlefield, proliferate that many times instead. Okay. Viral Spawning. Create a 3/3 Phyrexian Beast with Toxic 1 for 3. As long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters and it's in your graveyard, it has Flashback 3. Cool. Jawbone Duelist. Double Striking Soldier with Toxic 1. This actually will trigger twice because of Double Strike, so this is a very good card. Common Sphere. You can sacrifice it to draw a card. Maze Spellbomb. This is a green Spellbomb. It's definitely a reprint. Maze's Mantle. Flash, enchant creature. When it enters the battlefield, if enchanted creature has toxic, that creature gains hexproof. Interesting. And 2-drop, Toxic 2, Phyrexian Elf Scout. Not bad. We got that art of Atraxa's drone, or whatever that's called. And another Rebel token. Noxious Assault Foil. I did kind of want this to use this card somehow, so... Creatures you control get +2/+2, and the opponent will die if they block with more than 9 creatures. Ooh, Phyrexian Vindicator! Yep, this is a good white one. If damage would be dealt to Phyrexian Vindicator, prevent that damage. When damage is prevented this way, it deals that much damage to any other target. Nice. Ooh, look at Kemba. This was my first Commander deck, except they've finally reprinted, or made another version of Kemba here. Enters, or another cat enters the battlefield. Attach up to 1 target equipment you control to that creature. Equip creatures you control get +1/+1. And you can create a 2/2 white cat creature token. It's going to be pretty good for the cat dog Ren Surrey deck that I have. I think its first abilities aren't that great, but its last 5 cost cat creature ability, that is pretty good. Ooh, Naeli. This is from the commander. This is the face commander for the Boros commander deck. Attacking tokens you control have double strike. Whenever one or more tokens you control attack a player, exile the top card of your library. During any turn you attack with a token, you may play that card. I don't know if I have many Boros token decks, but it's pretty good if you do. Quicksilver Fisher again. Attracts a Skitterfang again. There's that Cephalopod with gets pumped by artifacts. That disgusting looking corpse box. The Stinging Hive Master again. Incisor Glider. Bone Picker Scourge. Imp. I didn't realize it was an imp. That's interesting. And then we got a forest. I'm getting a look over here from whatever is in this pack that I'm about to look at. I'll start with a foil mountain. Not bad. Oh, look at that. I didn't realize that this was actually a Commander set exclusive.
I told you that.
I didn't know that. It's foil, too. I didn't know they could come in foil.
Yeah, it's only in set boosters and collector boosters.
Oh, look at that. Well, that Myr that I said I wanted to get, here it is. Whenever you cast a Myr spell, create a Myr token. At the beginning of your combat, untap each Myr you control. They all make mana, so it's essentially like getting doubled your mana there. And you can pay Wooburg, put 3 1/1 counters on each Myr you control. And then you tap all your Myrs for mana, and then all of a sudden, you know, you can just swing in with them. And then you can pair it with that card that if they block with more than 10 creatures, they just die. So that is a pretty good one.
It's sitting at like, well, it's pre-release, so it's more expensive, but it's sitting at like $53.
Well, good to know. I'll probably be losing this over that one. Malcator Purity Overseer. When it enters the battlefield, create an artifact token. At the beginning of your end step, if 3 or more artifacts enter the battlefield under control, make another one. Okay, not bad. We see our Bone Picker Scourge again. Feed the Infection. Draw 3 cards and lose 3 life. Each opponent who has 3 or more poison counters loses 3 life. It's a 4-drop, though. That's kind of steep. Infectious Bite. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. Each opponent gets a poison counter. Another very good card for Proliferate in Atraxa colors. I think I see why Atraxa is like $150 now. At least the full art foil Double Masters box topper has shot up, and luckily we got that. And Lilly has an Atraxa deck, and those cards are going up. When Ravenous Necro Titan enters the battlefield, sacrifice a creature unless an opponent has 3 or more poison counters. Not bad. Another Spellbomb. Blazing Crescendo. Ooh, don't fall together, please. Target creature gets +3/+1 until end of turn. Exile the top card of your library until end of turn. You may play it. Not bad. Kuldotha Cackler. Trample. When it attacks, it gets plus X plus O until end of turn, where X is the number of permanents you control. Oil counters. Red seems to be going all in on the oil counters, which maybe a standard oil counter red deck wouldn't be that bad. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. If that's permanent mana value is 3 or less, proliferate. For 3, that's kind of a lot. Thirsting Roots. Search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, and put it in your hand. Or proliferate. You know, 1-drop proliferate. I'll take it. But I mean, you know, if you have a Traxa, do you really need it? Open this bad boy up. This side, right? Yep. Phyrexian Goblin. Zealot's Conviction. As long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, enchanted creature gets an additional +1 in first strike. Not bad. Ooh, Blade of Shared Souls. This is another one that's going to be going into Yoshimaru. So when it becomes attached to a creature, for as long as Shared Souls remains attached to it, you may have that creature become a copy of another target creature. And we have Furnace Punisher. We've seen this guy before. Against all odds, yep. This is the blinky elephant-looking guy. Sheoldred's Edict. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. Each opponent sacrifices a creature token. Each opponent sacrifices a planeswalker. Choose one. Oh, crap. Minor Misstep. Counter target spell with mana value 1 or less. This is a reprint too, I believe. Spellbomb. Reprint. Escaped Experiment. Whenever it attacks, target creature an opponent controls gets -X/-0, where X is the number of artifacts you control. Not bad. You draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life. Each opponent gets a poison counter. Another really good card for Proliferate. I don't know why they're making these. These are really good. Because with the Traxa, you are proliferating every turn at least once, not to mention like the Claws of Gix and whatever. What's that? Not the Claws of Gix. You tap it to proliferate and you pay like 3. Contagion Engine and then like Contagion Claw. With these, you win in like 4 turns. Ichor Pit Basilisk. Death Touch, we've seen this guy. Gulping Scrap Trap. Phyrexian Horror. Ooh. I do like horrors. I do have a horror tribal deck. Enters the battlefield or dies, proliferate. Not bad. And another good looking planes.
Did you see that?
Okay. Nope. We start from here. Phyrexian Might, again. Ooh, a nice looking forest. Oh, look at that. Same on both sides. Whenever you cast an all creature spell, put an oil counter on him. Remove an oil counter from him. Target creature gets flying. Not bad. Ooh, Zenith Chronicler. I wanted this one. Whenever a player casts their first multicolored spell, each other player draws a card. Very good for my no color deck. Bladed Ambassador. Swooping Lookout. We've seen you. Gleeful Demolition. We've seen you. Cacophony Scamp. We've seen you. Anoint with Affliction. We've also seen you. Sheoldred's Headcleaver. We've seen you. Flensing Raptor. We've seen it. See, it's a bird, though, so I might add this to my bird deck as Toxic. It's pretty good. Hexgold Slash. 2 damage to target creature. If it has Toxic, it does 4. Okay. Ooh, an Elephant Equipment. Equipped creature gets +0/+1. Not that great, though. Pretty terrible, actually. It is common equipment, so it's just kind of draft fodder. Still no Elish Norn. But we did, you know, probably get a better pull, so does it really matter? Okay, what's this? Another token, a golem. Glistening Seer. Enters the battlefield with 3 oil counters from it. Remove an oil counter, scry 1. Oh, here we go! Here's one of the Phyrexians. So, enters the battlefield with 4 oil counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove an oil counter from it. Then, if it has no oil counters on it, you lose the game. So, I mean, what I would do with this one is kind of donate it to someone on its last oil counter, and then they'll just lose the game. But, I mean, you probably don't want to run this card unless you're going to, you know, benefit from it extremely as it's in. We got Blight Belly Rat again. Saw Blade Scamp again. Enters the battlefield with an oil counter on it. Gets +1/+1 for each oil counter. We've seen this guy before. Cinder / Ravager. Costs 1 less to cast for each permanent you control with an oil counter on it. Vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, deals 1 damage to each creature your opponents control. Not bad for 6, I guess. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, creatures you control with oil counters get +1/+1. We've seen it. Cataxian Anatomist. We've seen this guy. Draw 3 cards and proliferate. Surgical Bay. This is the blue sphere here that you can sacrifice to draw a card. And Blight Belly Rat. Plus a full art mountain. And we start off with a really nice Plains. What the? 50 feet of rope! I was wondering how this card got in here. I was like, this is not a card in the set. And I look at the bottom. What a crappy list card. That is one of the worst. Thirsting Roots. Ooh, Blue Sun's Twilight. Gain control of target creature with X or less. If X is 5 or more, create a token that's a copy of it. Very good. All of the Twilights are good in this set. Blight Belly Rat. Exuberant Fuseling. We got Charforger again. Magmatic Sprinter. We've seen him. The Ugly Duress Art. Whisper of the Dross, another proliferate. The Dross Pit. This is the Black Sphere. Volshock Splitter. Another for Mirrodin. A quick creature gets +2/+0. Not bad. Wish it did more. Ooh, a Cat Rebel with Ward. As long as Leonin Lightbringer is equipped, it gets +1/+1. Not bad, I guess. We got 2 of those Mono Red Dragons so far. Start with the... Here we go. Token. Rebel. Hazardous Blast. White Sun's Twilight. I think we're only missing... We got the green one with the box. We pulled the black one. We pulled the blue one. So what are we missing? The red one?
Oh,
I just got the white one. I'm missing the red one. Gain X life. Create X Phyrexian Mites with Toxic. This card is so good. If X is 5 or more, destroy all other creatures. Yeah, you can just end the game with this card so easily. I'm going to have to put this in my sacrifice creatures deck. I think this will fit perfectly. Sinew Dancer. Infested Flesh Cutter. Sheoldred's Edict, also working with that. Minor Misstep again. Furnace Punisher. Surgical Bay coming back. Spellbomb reprint. Escaped Experiment, the artifact guy. And we got our Horror again, and the Mountain. I didn't get a look from this one, so we'll see if anything crazy comes out of it. We got ourselves a Goblin. We got ourselves a nice island. Testament Bearer. Whenever it dies, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them in the hand and the rest in the graveyard. Ooh, Venser. Lifelink and Toxic 1. Whenever you proliferate, choose 1. If you don't control a creature named the Hollow Sentinel, create the Hollow Sentinel, legendary 3/3 Phyrexian Golem. Target creature you control gains flying and lifelink until end of turn whenever you proliferate. Not bad. Ooh, another Thrumming Bird. Sinew Dancer. Urabask's Anointer. Churning Reservoir. This interesting Menace Reach Ogre Rebel, just a 5-drop, very simple. Serum Snare. Another reprinted Spellbomb. Cruel Grimark. Death Touch. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. For each opponent who can't, you gain 4 life. And we got Testament Bearer again. Alright, we're down to the last couple packs here. A good sign. We got Black Sun's Twilight as our art card for this. Phyrexian Might. Oh, there's just different arts for it. I haven't seen this art yet. Cacophony Scamp, foil. Ooh, Kaito! Another Planeswalker that I wanted here. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you may return... Again, this art here is tough to see. You may return one of them to its owner's hand. If you do, you may activate loyalty abilities of Kaito twice this turn, rather than once. Okay, not bad. Up to one creature you control can't... Up to one target creature can't attack or block. Good. 0 draw a card. That's really all I need to see. That's a very good ability. Create a drone with Death Touch. Whenever this creature leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2. Not bad. Ooh, what is this? Rhea Ivor, Bane of Bladehold. Battle Cry. At the beginning of combat on your turn, the next time creature would deal combat damage to one or more players, this combat damage prevent that. To one or more players, this combat prevent that damage. If damage is prevented this way, create that many 1/1 colorless mites. Okay. I think I might add that to my creature sacrifice deck as well. Quicksilver Fisher we've seen. Ooh, this is a cool Thrombird art. We actually haven't seen this. We've only seen the other version. Another Myr, good for the Myr deck. Necrogen Rot Priest. We haven't seen this version either. We've only seen the crazy version of them. Fair Basilica. This is the mono white card draw. Basilica Skullbomb. I don't know if this is a reprint. This one might be new. Target creature control has +2/+2 against flying. Draw a card. Zealot's Conviction. Offer Immortality. Is that... Maybe you're giving Shieldred her helmet there? It looks cool. Or maybe it's Norn. I can't tell. Target creature gains Death Touch and Indestructible. Not bad. And a nice Plains. Oh yeah. We start with a nice mountain here. Copper Longlegs. Ooh, Skrelv! Here he is. He's the leader of the Mites. Legendary, too. He can't block. Choose a color. Another target creature control gains Tox at 1 and Hexproof from that color. Can't be blocked by creatures of that color. I mean, this can fit into a lot of decks. I'll find a spot for him. Sawblade Scamp. Ooh, another Ogre Rebel. Affinity for equipment, though. He's a little bit crazier than the other one. Font of Progress again. Good card. Transplant Theorist. Whenever Transplant Theorist or another artifact enters the battlefield, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Put target card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. Not bad. Atmosphere Surgeon. Cutthroat Centurion. Sacrifice another artifact or creature. It gets +2/+2. Activate only once each turn. Okay. Chimney Rabble. Haste. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 red Phyrexian Goblin. Not bad. Shrapnel Slinger. Enters the battlefield, sacrifice a creature. When you do, destroy target artifact an opponent controls. Yeah, not bad. Ooh. Mirin Bardiche. The creature gets +2/+1 in Vigilance. Nothing crazy. Alright. Down to the last packs here. The last 2. Seeing if I can make up some ground on that $50 card Lilly pulled. We got a Rebel. We got Anoint with Affliction. We got Vindictive Flamestoker. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on it. Sacrifice it, discard your hand, and draw 4 cards. This ability costs 1 less for each oil counter. Okay. Bonepicker Scourge. Armored Scrap Gorger. +3/+0 as long as it had 3 or more oil counters on it. I don't think we're coming back from this one. Evolving Adapter enters the battlefield with an oil counter on it. Evolving Adaptive gets +1/+1 for each oil counter. Cinder Slash Ravager deals 1 damage to all the creatures. Nahiri's Sacrifice. As an additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice an artifact creature with mana value X. Deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures. Quicksilver Fisher. We haven't seen this art of this yet, actually. Sky Scythe Engulfer. Reach, trample, can't be blocked by creatures with flying. Titanic Growth reprint. Interesting. Target creature gets +4/+4. Infectious Inquiry again. And a Forest. Alright, let's see your last pack. We are going to start with a 2/2 cat. I'm going to need this token. I'll put that over there. A foil Forest. A foil Surgical Spell. Skrelv's Hive. This is a good card. I think this might actually be expensive too. Maybe like $5 to $10. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and create a token. As long as your opponent has 3 or more poison counters, creatures you control toxic have lifelink. We have Quicksilver Fisher again. Sylvok Battle Chair. Equipment. Equipped creature gets +4/+4 and has trample. Not bad. Ooh, another one. Equipped creature has flying. I think that's a good one. For a 4-drop though, not crazy. This is all for Mirrodin. The last 3 cards have been for Mirrodin. As long as it's your turn, equipped creature has first strike and trample. What is this? Prosthetic Injector. Equipped creature gets... Oh, this is an equipment. Equipped creature gets +0/+2 and has Toxic 1. Not bad. Ugh, the art on this card is so nasty. Crawling Chorus. Toxic 1. When it dies, create a mite. Ooh, Charge of the Mites. Those mites are looking large. Deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature or planeswalker. Create 2 mites with Toxic. Indoctrination Attendant. Toxic 1. When it enters the battlefield, you may return another permanent you control to its owner's hand. If you do, you create a mite. A lot of mites. Another for me. There's a lot of these for Mirrodin equipment, actually. Equipped creature is +1/-1. Alright. We will tally up the scores. Here is Lily's pile here. Here is my pile here. And we will see who won. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next set.